everybody out there in YouTube land. So today I am continuing my reviews of the 6-issue miniseries, Amazon's Attack. And today we will be looking at issue number 5. Now this was written by Will Pfeiffer and penciled by Pete Woods, with the colors being done by Brad Anderson. Now a brief warning, this comic book miniseries may contain scenes of blood and violence, so viewer discretion is advised. Alright, starting off, we have the cover here. It's good, it's well drawn. This character here in the main part that's fighting all of the other women, they are Bana. So if you haven't watched or read the first 4 issues, I would highly recommend it. It'll help you follow along. And in any case, this character is named Grace Choi, and the people she is fighting are rogue Amazons who are called the Bana, and that was explained a little bit in the last issue. So this Grace Choi woman here, I went ahead and looked her up since she seems to be a pretty important character to this story, and I didn't feel bad once I looked her up for not knowing who she is, because she was introduced in 2003, so she's a pretty new character as far as comic books go, and she was just around in the mid-2000s. It doesn't look like she made it into the new 52, definitely isn't in Rebirth. So in any case, Grace Choi, she's a superhero. She was published by DC, and she first appeared in The Outsiders #1 from 2003, and she was created by Judd Winnick and Tom Rainey. So that's her origin. She has tattoos and superhuman strength, and she's really good at fighting. And she was in The Outsiders and is affiliated with the Birds of Prey too, apparently. So, and then she's also in the 1 year later storyline. So that's her. The cover itself is kind of fake news, though. This fight doesn't actually happen. So of the 6 covers there are for this miniseries, of the 6, I like this one the least. Alright, so starting off on the first page, it's a news blurbs doing recaps of what has been going on. So they talk about the president's plane going down in the last issue and what Superman's been up to and all that. So that's pretty cool, and they recap that Washington has been sealed in a dome. We go on to the second page, and Superman's flying back to DC, and he's looking ahead and he says, wait, something's not right. Water vapor is beating on. Boom! Then he crashes into the dome, the wall of it there. It stops him in midair. So then we get the title for this issue, and it's called Trouble on the Home Front. And we go to the next page, and Superman's looking at it, and he says, it's some kind of force field. Maybe I can go under it. And he uses his X-ray vision, and he sees it goes underground, too. So he contacts Batman, who's inside the dome, and tells him the situation, and Batman informs him that Superman, obviously, but Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern are also trapped outside. And Diana's at Themyscira. She went to go get the antidote for Nemesis, who, if you've been following along, was stung by Amazonian bees, which are really strong. So she decided to go and get the antidote after much consideration. And Superman can't get through the dome, they suspect, because it's of magical origin. So we go to the next page, and it's the Bana. They're driving towards DC, and they have Grace Choi with them, and Grace Choi is actually kind of teasing them. She's talking crap, basically, saying, it's kind of boring, you guys talk a lot, but I haven't seen you actually do anything. Then we get the next page, and it is the Queen of the Bana, and she is giving the backstory of who they are and how they came to be. Essentially, at least from the way she tells it, they were part of the Amazons, but they were forced out, and then they were their own tribe, and they had to live in the desert, and they met men, and they hung out with them for a while, but that didn't go good, so basically they feel betrayed by everyone, and they want to get revenge on the Amazons. And then she tells Grace Choi that she is descended from them too, and that she took a skin sample from her when she wasn't paying attention and used medical technology and checked her DNA, and it said that she checked out. So that's what she tells her, and then they stop and get out, and Grace Choi is kind of thinking about it and letting it sink in, and then she comes back to the group, and she's really excited. She wants to join the Bana. And then we go back to inside the dome, and there's this bright flash of light, and Wonder Woman shows up. They don't explain how she shows up exactly, and they kind of talk about it a little bit. She's like, aren't you even the least bit curious about how I managed to appear out of nowhere, I'm certainly curious about why you're back from Gotham, because in the last issue we saw Batman had left to go to Gotham City. And there's a little box here on the bottom of the page, and it says, "Of course you know the answer, because you've read Catwoman number 69, right?" So apparently Batman coming back to DC happened in Catwoman number 69, which is another one of the many tie-ins to this story. So Batman says that he's more curious how she got through the dome, and he says Superman can't get through, and neither can Zatanna or Captain Marvel, so it's very powerful magic. And Wonder Woman's talking about how the Amazons have access to magic, so that's no surprise, but Batman's like, not magic like this. This is too powerful. So he goes to go check something, and then Wonder Woman goes to give the antidote to Nemesis. So the Bana are all outside having their meeting with Choi, and Superman shows up and tells Choi that they are lying and she's not really descended from them, which honestly I was kind of suspecting too. All we had to go on was the word of this character. She didn't actually show her any proof. So then the Queen of the Bana grabs Grace Choi and holds her hostage, and she's like, "You could probably rescue her, but could you do it before I could cut her throat?" So they back up and they go through the force field. For some reason they're able to. Oh, it's because it's, they're on the same side. Which you'll see, even though they keep talking about how much they hate the Amazons, but you'll see, I'm getting ahead of myself. So they go through the dome, and Queen Lady stabs Choi in the side, but doesn't kill her, and they leave. And then, the Queen shows up, and she meets Queen Hippolyta, and they talk about how they're going to rejoin and become one again, which is a little surprising because in the last issue, all the Bana talked about were how much they hate the Amazons. But in any case, they're all one army now, and they go to the next page, and it's Circe. She's on top of this tower, and she's talking about how smart she is and how she united everyone into one place, and she's this great strategic person playing chess, essentially. She got, the Amazons to attack, she got the Bana to show up, she got the superheroes to show up, she got the army to show up. It's all going how she wanted, and they all think she's dead on top of it, so they don't know it's her. And the guard behind her is there, and she gets tased by Batman. And Batman shows up, and it's kind of crazy. He says this series of magic words that he got from Zatanna. And this is a big deal because it knocks Circe's magic out somehow. Zatanna just knew how to do that. So it disables her ability to use magic. So she doesn't zap Batman, and he hits her and she falls back, and then he calls all the superheroes, so Martian Manhunter and Green Lantern and Superman all come in because the dome is now down. And as you see here on this page, they smash right into the crowd there. It's really cool. And Hippolyta gets knocked back and she says, "Who?" And Superman, as you can see here. And I really like this panel. This top panel's one of my favorite from this issue. So Hippolyta said, "Who?" And he says, "Who do you think?" And you can see there it's Hal Jordan and Alan Scott, Green Lanterns, along with Black Canary, Black Lightning, Power Girl, Vixen, Red Arrow, Stargirl, and of course Superman and Martian Manhunter, and some others. So that's really cool. And in the mid-2000s, the Justice League was big like that. This is like the Brian Meltzer Justice League. And if you haven't read his run in the mid-2000s, I highly recommend it. It has some great stories, like the Lightning Saga. If you haven't read that, definitely look up the Lightning Saga, collected stories of the Justice League. His Justice League is really good, and that's what this league is. That was the mid-2000s Justice League. So anyways, Circe's there, and she's talking about how it hurt that she got knocked off of the ledge by Batman, and then it sucks she lost her powers for an hour, but it's okay because the superheroes got through, and now chaos is really gonna happen. So we get this page here at the end. It's the very last page, and it's really cool. So Grace Choi gets up and she pulls the knife out of her side and says it didn't hit any vital organs, and Wonder Woman shows up and she says, "Are you alright? Well, get to a medic and then join the fight." And Choi says, "Fight? What fight?" And we get this whole panel on the bottom, which would have been even better if it was a full page, but it's really good. And if you're able to zoom in on it, it's even better. There's a lot of actual detail there in the tiny figures that are fighting. And the one big giant on the left side, you see he's kind of leaning back. If you're able to tell, that's because Superman punched him. So it's really awesome. It's got depth. You see Wonder Woman running down the steps towards the battle. You see all the tanks and the troops on both sides and the giants and the superheroes all fighting. It's really incredible. So that's it for issue number 5. It was pretty awesome. It was as exciting as the rest. I like the storyline. I think the mid-2000s had a lot of really intense comics with a lot of action and, well, violence, really. This is quite a war they have going. So be sure to tune in next time for issue 6. That's the final one in this series, and we'll wrap it up. And as always, thanks for watching. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe. Feel free to share these videos. It really helps me out. And hit the bell next to the subscribe button, and that'll give you a notification when I put up a new video. Alright, that's all. Thank you.
End of line.